Archangel Michael is crying loudly because your mother who passed is sending you urgent warnings. Open this immediately, or risk losing her protection forever. There is a sound in the heavenly realm tonight that is louder than thunder and deeper than sorrow. It is the cry of Archangel Michael, echoing through the skies, because your mother's spirit, who crossed over, is trying with everything she has to reach you before it's too late. This message is not ordinary. It is not for casual scrolling. It carries with it the weight of spiritual urgency and ancestral protection. What was once hidden is now rising to the surface, and the voice of your mother is growing louder in the realm of spirit. She is weeping, not because she's gone, but because you are in danger, and she cannot protect you unless you awaken now. This is the hour. The gates between the seen and unseen are thinner than ever before. Your mother's essence is not resting. She is moving, praying, shouting, and reaching through the veil, urging Archangel Michael to intervene because your energy is being targeted. There is a spiritual disruption, and something or someone has tried to silence her voice over your life. But heaven will not be still. The angel who guards your soul has been shaken, and his cries are not of defeat, but of divine awakening, for your ears to finally hear. This message is sacred, personal, and unstoppable. You were not supposed to scroll past this moment. There is a divine fingerprint here, a spiritual signature that your soul recognized the moment you read the title. You have been sensing things, flickers of energy, shadows in the room, dreams that wake you up suddenly, and a feeling of heaviness in your heart that never fully lifts. These were not coincidences. They were signaled. They were messages encrypted in emotion, sent from your mother's spirit and wrapped in Michael's holy fire. And now the message has arrived. Do not delay. Read every word as if your destiny depends on it, because it does. Type I am rising to get the blessing 4896. In the higher dimensions where souls ascend after passing, there are spirits who linger, not out of fear, but out of love. Your mother's soul, full of heavenly compassion and unfulfilled divine duty, has chosen to remain close to the veil. She is not in torment. She is not lost. She is aligned with the angelic host, walking beside Archangel Michael, watching your every step. But she cannot rest because the ones she loves, especially you, are walking toward a trap they do not see. And she would rather weep for eternity than let that moment unfold without warning. There are forces working silently in the background of your life. Energies that have been watching, waiting, manipulating patterns, causing confusion, doubt, and delay. And your mother sees it. In the spirit, she has pleaded with the divine, asking, "Give me one more chance to reach my child." Archangel Michael responded, "And now this message has found you, not through randomness, but through divine orchestration. Her presence has been around you, in the flickering lights, the chills down your spine, the scent of her perfume out of nowhere, the pressure in your chest when you're alone. All these are your signs. Your dreams have not lied. The shadow figures, the voices you hear just as you're waking, the strange patterns in your sleep, these are your mother's desperate efforts to get your attention. But she is not alone. Archangel Michael stands behind her, sword drawn, watching the dark spirits that have dared to draw near. But here's the truth. Her protection can only remain if your spirit aligns with what heaven is speaking right now. If you delay, if you ignore, the veil will thicken again, and her voice will fade. That's why this is your divine crossroads. Type I am anointed to get blessing 7312. Her love goes beyond the grave. Her covenant with you was not buried. It was transferred into the eternal realm. But spiritual laws must be honored. Free will must be respected. She cannot override your choices, but she can cry. And that cry has reached the ears of heaven's mightiest warrior, Michael himself. So strong is her love, so fierce is her loyalty, that she caused an angel to weep. Let that sink in. Let the magnitude of her sorrow shake you from spiritual sleep. You are not alone. You are not crazy. You are chosen. And this message is your proof. He has seen what you haven't. The traps laid in secret. The fake friendships. The person in your circle who smiles in your face but curses you behind closed doors. She has seen how your light has been dimmed, your voice weakened, your confidence stripped, bit by bit. And now she is demanding intervention. But you must listen. You must receive this warning. Because the longer you deny the signs, the closer those dark forces come to finishing what they started. And then, not even Michael can hold them off without your agreement. Type I am rising to get the blessing 8574. Before your mother's body gave out in the physical realm, her spirit had already begun moving into higher dimensions. She was already seeing things, visions, dreams, whispers, that weren't just part of her fading health. They were the beginnings of divine foresight. But few around her understood the power of what she was experiencing. In her final days, she tried to communicate things, subtle and strange, but deeply spiritual. You may recall her saying something that didn't make sense at the time, maybe about a shadow, a door, a number, or a name. That was her spirit already receiving divine knowledge about what you would face after her departure. She wasn't hallucinating. She wasn't rambling. She was channeling messages from heaven, prophetic messages. And the tragedy is, you might not have understood them then. But now, looking back, some of her final words haunt you because they're starting to make sense. Your spirit is remembering what your mind forgot. What if the things she said, "Don't trust the one who always smiles," or "Keep your door closed at night," or "Be careful in October," wasn't just talk, but a prophecy, a divine download? Your mother knew. The Spirit showed her what was coming, and now the time of her vision has arrived. There was a moment, perhaps just before she crossed over, when her body was quiet but her soul was still active. She saw something, maybe in the corner of the hospital room or beside her bed, or as she slept. That was Archangel Michael. He came not just to receive her soul, but to begin guarding you, because your mother pleaded with heaven, "Don't let my child be unprotected." Her covenant as a mother was transformed into a spiritual contract, sealed with divine fire. And now that covenant has reached you through this very message. Type I am anointed to get blessing 6601. You may have noticed that since she passed, there have been moments when you nearly heard her voice, a whisper in your dream, a sentence that sounded exactly like her, a dream where she looked right at you, and you woke up in tears. These are not fragments of grief. They are echoes of prophecy. She's still trying. She's still speaking. But the barrier between realms can only be crossed with spiritual consent. That's why this message is your permission slip, your agreement to finally hear what she's been saying all along. The reason Archangel Michael is crying is because her efforts are being drowned by the noise in your life. The distractions, the spiritual static, emotional trauma that you've tried to bury. He sees her trying to protect you from something dark that's coming closer. He sees her standing in prayer, night after night, hoping you'll get still enough to hear her. And each time you ignore the signs, each time you chalk it up to imagination, her light fades just a bit more from your spiritual path. Michael cannot fight what you welcome. He cannot protect what you deny. But the moment you say, "I hear you, Mom," a portal opens. The cries become commands. The warnings become weapons. And what was once vulnerability becomes victory. Your mother saw the fake friend who's draining you. She saw the financial deception being plotted against you. You saw the toxic relationship that's spiritually caging your future. And she wept. And now Michael is weeping because the same storm is circling you again. And you still haven't listened. But this moment, right now, can end the cycle. This paragraph could be the turning point. This part of the message could shatter the curse. Type "I'm rising" to get the blessing 7133. Remember this, spiritual warnings are not always loud. Sometimes they come through dreams, chills, sudden waves of anxiety, or even repeated numbers. That's how she's been trying to reach you, through everything from your technology freezing during certain conversations, to butterflies that hover too long, to songs that play at just the right time. But now the message is loud. Archangel Michael is crying because you've entered the final window. You can choose to rise now, or risk losing the covering she's been providing all this time. But you don't have to lose anything. Not her, not yourself, not your protection. You only have to act. Read this message again if needed. Replay her words in your heart. Remember her eyes. Recall her voice. Then step into the spirit. Declare your openness and receive what she's been trying to give you all along. Divine foresight, generational protection, and the authority to silence every lie that says you're alone. You're not. You never were. If this word has ignited something in your spirit and stirred boldness in your heart, we encourage you to sow a super thanks of $20. Your seed helps us continue speaking life, clarity, and prophetic encouragement to those moving from heartbreak to healing. You can also partner with us through a PayPal donation. Look for support here, link in the video description. Every offering, large or small, strengthens our mission to uplift, empower, and guide others with God's truth. Make sure to subscribe so you won't miss a single moment of revelation, encouragement, and divine direction crafted to help you step into your breakthrough. Type "I am chosen" to get blessing 8272. The moment your mother crossed over, something happened in the spiritual realm that most people never talk about. It wasn't just a farewell of love, it was the beginning of a war. Her soul had carried a mantle of protection over you in the physical realm. He covered you with her prayer, her intuition, your presence, and her unwavering love. But the second your physical body expired, there was a sudden shift. Spirits who had waited quietly on the outskirts of your life, watching, lurking, and whispering, move in with new boldness. Because they believed that now your covering was gone. What they didn't expect was your mother's refusal to stay silent, even from the other side. They didn't anticipate that Archangel Michael himself would rise on her behalf. Because a mother's spiritual bond does not break with death, it intensifies. The moment she passed, she began fighting from another plane. She called upon the highest ranks of the angelic order to stand between you and the danger that was forming. But this war has not been quiet. The evidence is in your life. You've seen it. Confusion out of nowhere, friendships turning cold, nights where you couldn't sleep, overwhelming fear that couldn't be explained. These were spiritual tremors, aftershocks of a heavenly battle occurring because darkness hoped to reclaim you. Her passing was seen by them as an opportunity, a weakening in your wall of light. But the enemy miscalculated. Your mother, in her divine wisdom, had already seen this moment coming. In her last weeks, she deposited prayers in the atmosphere that still echo today. She named your future. She covered your mind. He cried out for your protection. And Archangel Michael responded, not with a whisper, but with a sword drawn, roaring, descending into the unseen to intercept what was about to hit you. I'm anointed to get blessing 6195. Think back to the strange coincidences that started after her passing. The relationships that shifted. The job opportunities that vanished. The increase in spiritual sensitivity, goosebumps stirring worship, hearing your name in the silence, a heaviness in certain rooms. These weren't accidents. They were the evidence of war. And you were in the middle of it, unaware that your spirit had become the battlefield. While others grieved, you wrestled with emotions that didn't belong to you. While others moved on, you felt stuck, confused, burdened by something invisible. That was a resistance. That was the attempt to confuse your spirit and block her voice. You see, your mother didn't leave you powerless. But if the enemy could convince you that her absence meant abandonment, then you would voluntarily surrender the power she left behind. This is why you've been second-guessing yourself. Why you felt abandoned at times. It was all part of a spiritual illusion to trick you into forfeiting your inheritance. But that ends now. Michael's cries were never cries of fear. They were cries of urgency. Cries of awakening. You were born for this moment. You were equipped for this war. But first, you must become conscious of it. Understand that your emotions have been the smoke of the battlefield. Your anxiety, spiritual interference, your depression, a fog sent to weigh your soul down, your forgetfulness, the dark cloud hoping to block divine memories, your silence, a tactic of spiritual dulling, to keep your mouth closed when your breakthrough required a shout. But now that you're aware, now that the veil has been lifted, you are no longer a target. You are a weapon. Her tears have watered your future, and her voice in heaven is moving the hand of God in ways you cannot even imagine. I'm rising to get the blessing 7714. This war is not just about you. It's about your lineage. There are patterns in your bloodline that were supposed to end with your mother, but some forces are trying to recycle them through you. Cycles of betrayal. Cycles of lack. Cycles of sickness. But the enemy failed to consider the power of a mother's posthumous prayer. The generational cycle can stop with you, but not if you remain asleep. Your awareness, your agreement, your declaration, these things activate angelic enforcement. Your mother's spirit cannot fight alone forever. That's why this message found you, because now it's your turn to rise and war with her. You are not fragile. You are fierce. And your mother's cries have become a trumpet in the heavens. Even the angels are waiting for your command. They cannot intervene unless you speak. So speak life. Speak reversal. Speak protection. Say her name with honor, not sorrow. Call forth what she prayed. Oak what she dreamed. Because the war that began with her passing is not meant to end in defeat. It's meant to end in victory, and it will begin the moment you stand up in spiritual power and say, I remember. I receive. I respond. I am protected to get blessing 8861. There are things in your home, tangible objects that once belonged to your mother. To others, they may appear as ordinary, a ring, a sweater, a letter tucked into a drawer, a piece of furniture, a recipe in her handwriting. But in the realm of the spirit, these items are not ordinary. They carry vibration. They hold memory. And more importantly, they hold spiritual codes that can unlock the next layer of protection and prophecy that your mother left for you. You've looked at them and felt emotional, but you didn't know they were calling to you. These objects are vessels. Your mother poured her love, her prayers, and her frequency into these items. The necklace she always wore while praying. The photo frame she never allowed anyone to touch. The notebook she kept by her bed, where she scribbled thoughts in the middle of the night. These items are not just sentimental. They are spiritual archives. Heaven often leaves mysteries hidden in the mundane, and your mother, knowing the depth of her journey, infused spiritual keys into everyday things that now rest in your space. They are not dead relics. They are alive with assignment. If you've ever touched one of these items and felt chills or been overwhelmed with tears for no logical reason, that was your spirit responding to the encoded power within them. These items carry messages that your conscious mind couldn't hear, but your soul could. That's why you're being called now to revisit them. Go to where they are. Don't just see them, touch them. Pray over them. Ask the Holy Spirit to reveal what's hidden. Archangel Michael is crying because these spiritual tools are dormant, and the protection meant to be activated through them remains unused. Type I am chosen to get blessing 7219. There may even be a dream you had involving one of her old belongings, a ring she asked you to wear, a house she pointed to, a key she handed you in the dream world. These are not fantasies. They are spiritual instructions. Dreams are the language of angels and ancestors, and your mother has been trying to give you something through symbols and memories. The spiritual realm often speaks in layers, and what you thought was a dream may have been your mother trying to pass you a spiritual mantle, through a bracelet, through a book, through a voice that said, "Don't forget this." Perhaps you gave away some of her belongings thinking it was part of moving on, but lately, you felt regret or strange heaviness. That may be a signal that something sacred was attached. You might even be prompted to reclaim what you released or pray over the space where it once sat. Her presence was stronger in that place. Her voice was louder near that item. Not because of superstition, but because love charges matter, and when love meets prayer, it creates spiritual voltage. Your mother left you more than memories. She left you portals, entry points for divine protection. You may even find yourself wanting to smell her perfume again, light a candle, or read her old journal. Do it. That is not random. It is your spirit answering her spiritual call. These objects are anchors to her light, and when you embrace them, you're not clinging to the past. You're activating what she left for your future. She didn't leave you empty. She left you instructions. She knew the darkness would come. She knew someone close to you would try to mislead you. So she left the truth in symbols. Your assignment now is to decode them with heaven's help. Type I am awakened to get blessing 6387. Michael is crying because these tools are being neglected, covered by dust. Were dismissed as nostalgia. But heaven does not waste energy. If her items still remain in your life, then so does her assignment. Don't delay. Revisit them today. You might feel heat in your hand, see light in the corner of the room, or feel her voice stirring in your belly as you do. That's not your imagination. That's the spirit world opening. Your mother is watching. She sees you move toward her legacy. And as you do, Archangel Michael lifts his sword higher, ready to silence every attack forming against you. You are not just holding a sweater. You are holding a shield. You are not just reading a letter. You are unlocking a strategy. You are not just smelling a scent. You are invoking an atmosphere. Every object holds power. Every memory holds a mission. And now, the moment has come for you to engage the mystery your mother left for you to uncover. This is sacred. This is personal. This is divine timing. And heaven is leaning in, waiting to see what you'll do next. Top, I am anointed to get blessing 8923. There were things your mother wanted to accomplish. Missions, visions, sacred assignments that lived in her heart but were never completed. Life, time, sickness, where other limitations may have prevented her from finishing them, but that does not mean they died with her. In the realm of the spirit, unfulfilled callings are passed down like batons in a divine relay race. And now, that baton has been placed in your hand. You are not just her child by blood, you are her spiritual continuation. The same angels that stood with her now look to you. The unfinished is becoming your assignment. You may not yet realize how many of your recent desires, thoughts, and spiritual burdens are actually connected to what you once prayed for. That longing to help others, that sudden desire to write, to speak, to serve, to protect your family in a way no one else will. These are not new. They are inherited blueprints. You are being pulled by the same current that stirred inside her decades ago. You are being moved by her mission. Heaven did not allow her purpose to die. It allowed it to evolve through you. The question is not whether you are called. The question is whether you will say yes. There are journal entries she wrote that no one ever read. There are dreams she mentioned in conversation and then dismissed with a tired laugh. There were plans she made and tucked into drawers, maybe even labeled someday. That someday is today. You were chosen as the one to carry the torch. Not just because you are her child, but because your spirit is strong enough to bear it. And Michael knows this. He cries not only because danger is near, but because destiny is, too. Your delay could cost more than time. It could cost the next chapter of your family's restoration. Type I am chosen to get blessing 7422. Think of the conversations where she would stare off and say, "One day, I want to," or "if only I had the chance to." You may have dismissed them, but her soul planted those seeds in your memory for a reason. Now, they are sprouting. You may feel restless, dissatisfied, unfulfilled by what used to make you happy. That's not failure. It's a divine redirection. Your life is pivoting toward purpose. Your mother is pushing you forward from the other side. Her voice, her strength, her guidance, it's all awakening in your bloodline through your actions. And you don't have to do it perfectly. You don't have to have every detail figured out. You only need to begin. That business she never launched, that family member she wanted to reconcile with, that foundation she wanted to start, that prayer group she hoped to form, any one of those things might now live in your hands. Even her hobbies like sewing, painting, singing, or cooking may hold hidden keys. Sometimes the most powerful callings begin in what we dismiss as just a gift. But what if that gift is the exact thing God now wants to use? Type I'm rising to get blessing 6649. Don't underestimate what has been growing inside you. It may have started as a whisper, but it's becoming a roar. Your gifts are aligning. Your timing is activating. And the spirit of your mother is fully present, guiding your steps in this season. This isn't just about honoring her memory. It's about fulfilling her prophecy. Her mission did not end. It multiplied. And now heaven is watching to see if you will answer. Will you finish what she started? Will you walk the path she dreamed of when no one was looking? Every step you take in her name, every bold move you make that reflects her voice, every prayer you whisper while thinking of her, it all sends ripples into the spirit realm. Michael is strengthening his guard. Heaven is releasing scrolls, and the generational curses that have tormented your family for years are now breaking because you chose to continue. Her work through you will silence what tried to silence her. Her vision through you will complete what she wept over in silence. The time is not someday. The time is now. Rise and run with her mantle. Type I am anointed to get blessing 9110. There's a reason why your atmosphere changed after she passed. You may have chalked it up to grief or emotional instability, but there's something deeper, something darker. A presence began circling you, subtly, quietly, like a fog that never quite lifts. It appeared in your sleepless nights, your shadowy thoughts, your moments of irrational fear. You could feel it. You couldn't name it. But it was real. This dark spirit was never after her. It was after you. But her presence, her covering, her intercession kept it at bay. When she left the physical world, that entity saw an opening. It didn't come in the form of horns and terror. It came in distraction, in heaviness, in tiredness, in strange disconnections from people you once loved. It came in the form of spiritual numbness and emotional exhaustion. That's how it works. It doesn't announce itself, it drains. And while you've been going through life thinking you're just in a slump or mourning, that spirit has been working overtime to separate you from your divine path. Archangel Michael's cry was not just a lament, it was a warning. He saw what was slithering in, unseen by physical eyes but real in the realm of the spirit. Your mother's spirit never stopped watching. He's seen it. She's been trying to alert you. That's why you've had flashes of anxiety in safe places. That's why you've had random moments of deep dread without cause. That's why your dreams have included themes of being chased, trapped, or falling. It's spiritual warfare. Not imaginary. Not symbolic. Actual spiritual targeting. But now that you know, you're no longer powerless. Awareness brings authority. This presence fears only one thing: your awakening. Your decision to declare, to fight, to cleanse, and to realign yourself with the light your mother left behind. Type I am covered to get blessing 7541. Start to trace back. When did the heaviness begin? Which event seemed off? Who entered your life around that time? Who drains you more than they fill you? What opportunities looked good on the surface but have left you feeling stuck ever since? These are signs of infiltration. That spirit didn't just bring gloom. It carried intention. Its aim was to make you give up, to disconnect you from your discernment, to strip you of the spiritual inheritance your mother prayed into existence. But even now, it is trembling, because you're waking up to the fight. You were never supposed to battle alone. Archangel Michael has stood guard, but even angels require agreement. The enemy knows this. That's why this dark spirit has tried to convince you to withdraw, to stay quiet, to skip your spiritual disciplines, to numb out through overworking, social scrolling, or emotional shutdown. Because if you don't speak, the angels can't move. If you don't declare, they cannot war. But that changes today. This part of the message is your line in the sand. The presence is real, but so is your power. And once light is exposed, darkness cannot remain. Type I am rising to get blessing 6982. Your mother's protection never fully left. It's hovering, waiting to be activated again. You must cleanse your space, anoint your doors, play worship music, speak life into your room, renounce the spirit of fear, cast down the energy of heaviness. You don't need to be a prophet to do this. You only need to speak from the authority of love and the covenant of her prayers. Say aloud, I reject every dark presence that entered my life after her passing. I reclaim my atmosphere. I call back divine protection. Watch what begins to shift. Watch what leaves. Watch what returns. It's not just your protection on the line, it's your clarity. That spirit brought more than emotion. It brought confusion, clouding your discernment. It tried to make you second-guess every decision. But Michael is cutting through the fog now. Your mother is standing in intercession, and the light they bring together is brighter than anything that has tried to haunt you. This isn't the end of your fight. It's the end of your silence. You were made for this. You are not weak. You are not losing your mind. You are rising, and darkness cannot dwell in the same space as divine awareness. If this word has ignited something in your spirit and stirred boldness in your heart, we encourage you to sow a super thanks of $20. Your seed helps us continue speaking life, clarity, and prophetic encouragement to those moving from heartbreak to healing. You can also partner with us through a PayPal donation. Look for support here, link in the video description. Every offering, large or small, strengthens our mission to uplift, empower, and guide others with God's truth. Make sure to subscribe so you won't miss a single moment of revelation, encouragement, and divine direction crafted to help you step into your breakthrough. Type I am anointed to get blessing 8620. This is the moment heaven orchestrated from the very beginning of your sorrow. Archangel Michael is not crying just for sympathy. He is crying to interrupt your delay. Your mother's spirit is not trying to haunt you. It is trying to hand you a divine instruction. This isn't a soft whisper anymore. This is a heavenly pitch, a divine plea. They are saying, you must act now. Not next week. Not when you feel more spiritual. Now. Because the danger is increasing, and the time for passive grieving has passed. This is your spiritual call to rise and respond before the blessing collapses beneath your hesitation. There is something hanging in the balance right now, a blessing, a relationship, a life opportunity, a divine redirection. And if you don't act, it may vanish before your eyes, not because God is punishing you, but because spiritual windows are only open for so long. Your mother knew this. That's why she moved heaven and earth and spirit to get this message through. And that's why Archangel Michael, the greatest angelic warrior, is standing behind every word you're reading, crying aloud, move, activate, declare, open your mouth and speak. Heaven needs your permission to finish what she started. You've lingered long enough in doubt. You've questioned signs that were obvious. You've waited for confirmation while the confirmation was already inside you. This is the divine intervention you prayed for but didn't recognize. If you miss this, you won't just lose clarity, you could lose your alignment, and that would delay your breakthrough for years. Don't let this be another cycle of almost healed, almost awakened, almost ready. Heaven doesn't deal in almost. Heaven deals in obedience, surrender, and action. And right now, your obedience to respond is what will determine what unfolds next. Type I am chosen to get blessing 9771. The urgency you feel as you read this is not emotional manipulation. It is spiritual confirmation. You know this message is for you. You can feel it vibrating in your chest, confirming everything you've sensed but couldn't explain. Your mother is watching from the cloud of witnesses, hoping you'll act. Michael is hovering in your home, waiting for your word. The door is open, but the choice is yours. Will you walk through it? Or will you hesitate and let the door close? You must understand, her protection is not automatic anymore. It is initial. It's connected to your agreement. Think about all the delays you've endured, the unexplainable blocks, the friendships that fell apart, the strange fatigue that hits when you try to pray. These weren't just distractions. They were battles. You've been under siege, and you didn't even know it. But now you do. And that knowledge means you are accountable. The next move must come from you. Heaven won't force you, but heaven is waiting. Your mother is calling you not only to hear but to respond. Light the candle. Open the journal. Speak her name. Declare your authority. Watch what activates. Watch what clears. Type I am ready to get blessing 8444. If you ignore this moment, you may find that more than energy is lost. You could lose divine time. You could miss the person heaven sent to help you. You could fall back into emotional traps that will take years to untangle. That's why this is not just a message. It's a lifeline. A spiritual ultimatum. Not given in anger, but in urgent love. Your mother is pleading in the realm of light. Michael is roaring in the courts of heaven. And now, the divine courtroom awaits your answer. What will you do with this truth? What will you choose? This is the chapter where you must become active in your own protection. No one else can respond for you. Not a pastor. Not a friend. Not a sibling. Only you can authorize this next dimension. Speak it aloud. I choose to receive my mother's message. I agree with the assignment of heaven. I say yes to divine protection. When you do, something will break. Something will move. Something will activate. And all of heaven will shift in your favor. This is your moment. Don't let it pass. Type I'm anointed to get blessing 9359. You've noticed the signs. You felt them. But each time, you've pushed them aside, chalking them up to imagination, timing, or coincidence. The flickering light when you spoke her name. The sudden breeze in a closed room. The unexpected dream where she stood just feet away, saying nothing but looking at you with eyes filled with urgency. These weren't random. These were messages. Signals from beyond. Portals opened for seconds just to get a single moment of clarity through. Your mother has been trying to reach you, but the noise of daily life has been too loud. She's used music, songs that play just when you're about to break. She's used animals, a specific bird appearing in your path over and over again. She's shown up in your thoughts at odd times, mid-conversation, mid-errand, mid-laughter. Those weren't just memories. They were impressions, whispers of the spirit reaching toward you. Your mother is fighting for your attention not with fear, but with familiar signs that only your soul would recognize. But your logic keeps brushing them off. You say, "That's weird," or "What a coincidence," without realizing that these signs are your protection's last cries. There's a reason the scent of her perfume returns when no one's around. There's a reason you sometimes feel like she's standing behind you in the mirror, like you're not alone. That sense isn't fantasy. It's spiritual recognition. Your glow is not faded. Your watch has not ceased. And every sign she sends is coated with divine urgency. She's been trying to wake you up to the enemy's movement, to the shadow that's lingering, to the opportunity about to expire. But signs must be honored to unlock their power. The more you dismiss them, the weaker the signal becomes. Type I am rising to get blessing 8824. Pay attention to the patterns. Has a certain number been repeating? A specific time on the clock, a name, a phrase, a location. These aren't random. In the spirit realm, repetition is revelation. Your mother is looping these symbols in your path because the message is time-sensitive. She cannot write it in the sky, but she can use what you'll notice. License plates, photos, childhood memories, TV shows that echo her words. And you've been seeing them, haven't you? Feeling the ache, the jolt, the internal whisper that says, This means something. Trust that voice. That voice is real. You've probably also experienced interruptions, dreams that wake you up suddenly, technology glitches when you try to speak of spiritual things, candles that refuse to stay lit, or a voice calling your name as you drift into sleep. These are not accidents. They are intrusions from the spirit world, either divine or demonic, depending on whether you're listening. Your mother's signals are peaceful but firm. But if ignored long enough, the urgency increases. Heaven cannot afford to let you wander into what she died protecting you from. So the signs will intensify. The question is, will you finally listen? Type I am awakened to get blessing 7655. Archangel Michael stands at the threshold of your awareness, waiting for your permission to fully intervene. Your mother's spirit keeps pressing into your space, trying to ignite your sensitivity. If you keep dismissing the signs, you will miss the instructions. And if you miss the instructions, you'll misunderstand the season. This is not a season of grief. It is a season of transfer. Her wisdom, her discernment, her mental, it's all tried to move into you. But the gateway is the signs. A dream you thought was weird, revisited. That memory that came out of nowhere. Pray into it. That repeated number. Research it. Your destiny is coded in these details. Start recording the patterns. Write down what's repeating. Don't trust your memory. Trust the movement. The more you honor the signs, the louder the message will get. Your spirit will begin translating what your logic can't. That's how the veil thins. That's how angels draw close. That's how your mother's protection strengthens once again. But the first step is trust. Trust the signs. Trust the nudges. Trust the sacred chills and unexplainable emotions. They are not weakness. They are gateways. And you're standing in front of one now. Type I am listening to get blessing 9900. There is a moment, often between sleep and waking, when the veil between worlds thins so greatly that spirit can whisper into soul. It's the moment you've dismissed as just dreaming, or called half asleep. But in those moments, your mother has been speaking. She has whispered sacred instructions, things you don't fully remember in your mind but have left imprints on your spirit. A phrase, a gesture, a warning. These were not figments. They were sacred scripts from the other side. Your mother, seeing what you cannot, has tried to give you guidance. But your waking mind has not honored it. Think back. How many times have you dreamed of her pointing to something, saying a single word, leading you into a house, or placing something in your hand? These are divine interactions, not subconscious noise. She has been given heavenly permission to whisper to you, not often, but when it matters most. Archangel Michael has shielded the moments when the darkness tried to intercept those messages. But time is running thin. The instructions are becoming more urgent. And now, through this message, the whispers must become clear commands. You are no longer in a season of subtle hints. You are in a season of decisive action. She's told you to watch someone. You trust your gut about a place. You avoid a certain path. You felt it, heard it, and knew it in your bones, but brushed it aside. And now you see things unfolding that confirm those early warnings. Your mother's wisdom, even in spirit, is unmatched. She sees the spirit behind the smile. She sees the consequences behind the temptation. She sees what your eyes can't. And if you honor what she's been trying to say, you'll escape what the enemy hoped to trap you in. These instructions are not suggestions. They are lifelines. Type I am guided to get blessing 8495. Some of the instructions she's whispered have come through other people. A stranger who said something oddly familiar. A child who repeated a phrase you haven't heard since your mother said it. A random video that echoed her advice. Heaven had been layering her message in different forms because your ears were spiritually tired. But now they're awakening. And as your discernment sharpens, you'll begin to recall her whispers more clearly. You'll realize they weren't random. She's been trying to protect you from missing a divine appointment, something so sacred that heaven delayed its release until you were fully aware. Write the instructions down. Even if they make no sense now, they will. You've dismissed too many as imagination, and heaven is trying to get you to record them so the next time she whispers, it's not lost in memory. Start a journal dedicated to this purpose. Keep it near your bed. When you visit, when you enter to capture it, interpret it, pray over it, ask Michael to clarify it. You are receiving codes from eternity, and these instructions could change everything. One whisper could reroute a disaster. One sentence could unlock a generational blessing. Type I am ready to get blessing 7220. Some of what she's tried to say has been blocked by emotional static. Your grief, your busyness, your skepticism. It's time to clear the air. You must create space. Write your world. Set aside one night and say out loud, Mother, I'm listening now. Speak. Then watch what happens. It may not come as a voice. It may come as a memory, a flash, a deep knowing. That's still her. That's still divine. Don't require theatrics. Trust the gentle signs. Q will not always shout. Sometimes her greatest warnings are spoken in the silence between your questions. Archangel Michael is crying because too many chosen ones are sleeping through their instructions. But not you. Not anymore. This part of your journey is sacred. Her whispers are sacred. Her legacy is sacred. And if you follow these divine prompts, your path will realign. You'll avoid the next snare. You'll walk into the right room. You'll recognize the person sent to help you and reject the one sent to delay you. That's how deep this goes. That's how holy your whispers are. And that's why you must write them, speak them, and obey them. If this word has ignited something in your spirit and stirred boldness in your heart, we encourage you to sow a super thanks of $20. Your seed helps us continue speaking life, clarity, and prophetic encouragement to those moving from heartbreak to healing. You can also partner with us through a PayPal donation. Look for support here, link in the video description. Every offering, large or small, strengthens our mission to uplift, empower, and guide others with God's truth. Make sure to subscribe so you won't miss a single moment of revelation, encouragement, and divine direction crafted to help you step into your breakthrough. Type I am listening to get blessing 9901. Since your mother passed, there has been a quiet and calculated effort in the spirit realm to erase her influence from your soul. Not just her memory, but her voice, her wisdom, her discernment, the way she guided you, even when you didn't understand it. A dangerous spirit has been assigned to distort her legacy, to replace her sacred voice with confusion, distraction, and spiritual forgetfulness. This spirit does not come with fire or chaos. It comes cloaked in emotional fog, toxic relationships, and soul wounds disguised as progress. It whispers, move on. Let go. It's not that deep. But it is. You've probably felt the shift. At first, her voice in your memory was strong, vivid dreams, sudden reminders, emotions that surged like waves. But over time, those began to fade. not because she left you, but because this spirit crept in, encouraging your mind to distance itself from what your soul craved most. The spirit's job is to sever your access to her, bit by bit, so that when the next spiritual attack comes, you'll no longer remember how she'd have warned you, how she'd have prayed, how she'd have told you. Trust your gut, baby. That is erasure. That is spiritual theft. Michael is not just crying, he is warning. Because this spirit is gaining ground when you treat your mother's presence as mere nostalgia. Her voice was not left to comfort you, it was left to instruct you. But if the enemy succeeds in numbing that frequency, your divine direction could collapse. This is not just about remembering her. This is about preserving the divine access she left behind. If her voice fades, your ability to recognize danger dims with it. And once that's gone, the enemy has full access to lead you off course, unchecked. Type I am rising to get blessing 7037. You may have already felt this theft beginning. You struggle to remember her exact words. You reach for her memory but come up blank. You think of calling her, only to remember she's gone, and then sadness overshadows the wisdom she tried to leave behind. That's the spirit working. Its goal is not just to make you cry. Its goal is to silence her influence so you'll never realize that her legacy is the exact key you need right now. The way she trusted her instincts. The way she said no when everyone else said yes. The way she shielded you from subtle evil disguised as kindness. You are not crazy. That spiritual dullness you've been feeling isn't just grief. It's interference. And it's time to take authority over it. Begin by saying out loud, I reject every spirit trying to erase my mother's voice from my life. I reclaim her wisdom, her frequency, her warnings, and her anointing. Light a candle. Play the music she loved. Watch her videos again. Read her letters out loud. These things reactivate what the spirit tried to delete. Her voice, though absent in the flesh, is eternal in the spirit. And when you lean in, heaven leans with you. Type I am protected to get blessing 8802. What's at stake is greater than memory. It's identity. When you lose her voice, you start to lose the part of you that she protected, your essence, your knowing, your divine intuition. And that's what this spirit wants most. To break the chain between mother and child. To silence generations. To interrupt the line of spiritual guardianship. But it's not too late. The fact that you're still reading proves you are chosen to stop this erasure. To reopen the archive. To revive what the spirit tried to drown. Your awareness is a sword. Use it. And the erasure ends now. Michael is still stationed by your side. He has not moved. He has not faltered. But he weeps when you forget. He weeps when your ears turn from her whispers. He weeps when you believe the lie that she's gone. She is not gone. She is moved. And what she carries, what she still releases, is part of your spiritual armor. You need it more than ever. Reclaim it. Write down her wisdom. Recite her phases. Pass them on. Let her voice rise from the grave through your courage. Because the only thing stronger than this spirit's erasure is your choice to remember. Type I am remembering to get blessing 9176. This is not a scared tactic. This is not a metaphor. This is divine reality. Your mother's spiritual protection, her prayers, her mantle, her covering, had been holding back things you cannot even comprehend. But spiritual laws are sacred. Even angels are governed by timing, obedience, and divine permission. Archangel Michael is crying loudly not because he is powerless, but because your mother's intercession is being stretched beyond its divine window. You must act now. If you do not respond, if you ignore her final signals, her permission to shield you will expire, and what's been delayed could finally touch your life. Understand this. When she transitioned from the physical realm, she left behind more than memories. She left behind authority. Her soul stood before the throne and asked for mercy to extend over you. God granted it. Michael enforced it. But that covering was always meant to awaken you, not enable delay. Heaven has those, and one of those laws is that protection tied to free will cannot remain active without alignment. You have been given months, maybe years, of divine delay. Accidents that didn't happen. Relationships that ended before destruction. Emotional chaos that passed quickly. That was her. That was Michael. But delay is not denial. This message is the final pitch from heaven. Not to scare you, but to realign you. Your mother is not disappointed in you. She's desperate for you. She is doing everything a soul can do to reach across eternity and hand you one last instruction. Say yes. Say now. Say it loud. Because the enemy knows what she knows, that time is nearly up. The spiritual attacks that have been circling will be allowed to touch you if your heart remains closed. This is not punishment. This is spiritual balance. And heaven is bound by the choices you make in moments like this one. Type I am awakened to get blessing 7871. Some of you reading this feel a lump in your throat. That is confirmation. Others feel chills, heaviness in the chest, a burning in the hands. That is not emotional, it is prophetic. Your mother is standing behind you right now. Her presence is thick. Her urgency is holy. She's not pleading to stay attached for her sake. She's fighting for your destiny. You've come to the edge of a cliff, and your next step determines whether you fall or fly. If you return to spiritual sleep, the next battle will hit with full force, and her ability to step in will be withdrawn. That's what makes this sacred. This isn't just another message, it's a courtroom declaration. Michael has brought this petition before heaven, and the Father has said, let the child decide. And so, it comes to you. Will you accept the covering again? Will you take the mantle your mother has left? Will you honor the signals she sent? Or will you return to comfort, denial, and delay? Choose quickly. Choose wisely. Heaven is watching. Hell is waiting. And your mother is weeping, not out of weakness, but out of love so fierce that she broke divine distance to speak this one final time. Type I am chosen to get blessing 9428. If you say yes, really say yes, then the entire angelic protocol will realign. Your presence will strengthen. Michael's sword will swing again. Your clarity will return. That job, that dream, that miracle will accelerate. Your home will feel lighter. Your sleep will deepen. Your mind will quiet. Why? Because heaven responds to surrender. Because your spirit will no longer resist the very voice that's been guarding you in secret. She didn't come to scare you. She came to save you. And Michael didn't come to warn you. He came to activate you. But they cannot wait much longer. The enemy has already placed traps in your path. Hidden betrayals. Delayed blessings. Health complications. Financial sabotage. Your mother has been holding the door shut. But the pressure is rising. And unless you respond now, the door may open. Not because heaven is cruel, but because you didn't answer the knock. That knock is this message. These paragraphs. This moment. What you do now will echo into every tomorrow. And your mother's final wish. That you choose the light. that you honor her voice, that you reclaim your protection. Not later, not tomorrow. Now, type I am protected to get blessing 9119. Even now, after everything that's been said, after every whisper, every dream, every warning, you must understand this eternal truth. Your connection to your mother is not just emotional. It is covenantal. A spiritual agreement was formed the day you were born. She didn't just carry your body into this world. She carried your light. She fought off shadows you never saw. She cried prayers over your name that shook the walls of heaven. She planted seeds in your future with every God. Keep my child safe. That covenant didn't die when she did. It transformed. And now it lives within you. The enemy cannot sever what heaven has sealed. Your mother's love is not buried. It is encoded in your DNA, your calling, your spirit. That's why her voice keeps finding you. That's why Archangel Michael is involved. Because the covenant must be honored. When you cry, heaven remembers her voice. When you rise, heaven sees her fulfilled legacy. But covenant is not passive. Covenant must be honored, fed, nurtured. That's what this entire message has been about, pulling you back into divine alignment with the bond you share with her. A bond so unshakable that even death had to step aside. You felt her power in moments of desperation. You've called her name and felt comfort when no one else answered. You've heard her voice when no one else was in the room. These weren't coincidences. They were covenant manifestations. Her promise to protect you is still active, but it requires your permission to flow freely. Your pain may have tried to silence it. Your doubts may have tried to bury it. But it's still there. Beneath the sorrow, beneath the confusion, that fire still burns. The love of a mother, the protection of a warrior, the legacy of a prophetess. Type I'm covered to get blessing 7666. You were not left alone. You were left with an inheritance. But inheritances must be claimed. You must now rise in honor of what she gave, what she shielded, and what she left unfinished. You are her living echo. You are her answered prayer. And the reason this message found you is because the spiritual contract is still open. Heaven is asking you to sign again, to renew your agreement with what she started. You don't need a ceremony. You don't need a crowd. You need one simple declaration. I receive my covenant. I remember my mother. I rise for both of us. Once you declare it, things will begin to shift. You'll remember dreams more clearly. You'll feel lighter in rooms that used to feel heavy. You'll start to hear her voice again, not in sorrow, but in strength. And Michael will stand taller beside you. The forces that tried to confuse you will scatter. Because covenant is a legal term in the spirit. And when it is honored, no darkness can void it. You're not stepping into a memory. You're stepping into a mantle. One your mother wore faithfully, and one that now belongs to you. Type I'm rising to get blessing 8552. You were not chosen by accident. Your mother knew you were strong enough. That's why she left you her most sacred assignment. That's why heaven keeps chasing you down with signs. Because the covenant is still waiting for your full yes. And once you say it, once you live it, your entire bloodline will feel the ripple. Generational patterns will break. Hidden blessings will unlock. Your children, born or unborn, will be covered. Your home will become sacred ground. Because when one child says yes to the covenant, every demon assigned to that bloodline must bow. So rise now, not just for you, but for every prayer she whispered, for every night she cried over your future, for every spiritual battle she won behind closed doors. This is not the end. This is the rebirth of everything she ever dreamed. And it begins with your next decision. Type "I'm anointed" to get blessing 9033. This is the moment everything turns. You walked through the words. You felt the fire behind every line. You remembered her teeth, her laughter, her wit, and her love. And now you stand at the threshold, the final door. Behind you is confusion, silence, fear, and delay. But ahead of you is restoration, covering, wisdom, and legacy. Your mother's spirit is no longer waiting in the distance. She's beside you now, ready to walk every step with you, not in body, but in spirit, in memory, in fire. The veil has thinned. Your heart is open, and the covenant is alive again. This door does not close. This door is spiritual. And by stepping through, you're not just saying yes to protection, you're saying yes to purpose. You're saying yes to remembering the sacred instructions. You're saying yes to honoring her whispers. You're saying yes to trusting the signs, reclaiming your atmosphere, and walking boldly into every assignment heaven stored up for you. Archangel Michael no longer weeps. His tears have shifted into triumph. His sword has returned to flame. Because you didn't just read, you responded. You didn't just sense, you surrendered. You didn't just feel, you finally believe. And now you will never walk alone again. From this day forward, the bond is sealed. You've chosen to listen. You've chosen to rise. Her voice will be clearer. Her guidance will return. And you will feel her love like armor over your life. Your room will shift. Your nights will calm. Your spirit will rise. Because now she knows you heard her. And she is at peace. If this word has ignited something in your spirit and stirred boldness in your heart, we encourage you to sow a super thanks of $20. Your seed helps us continue speaking life, clarity, and prophetic encouragement to those moving from heartbreak to healing. You can also partner with us through a PayPal donation. Look for support here, link in the video description. Every offering, large or small, strengthens our mission to uplift, empower, and guide others with God's truth. Make sure to subscribe so you won't miss a single moment of revelation, encouragement, and divine direction crafted to help you step into your breakthrough. Type "I'm sealed" to get blessing 7997.